morning. Welcome to another episode of Omen G's Stupid Scary Stories, number 107. Now, I know the last time I talked to you about anything was that naked demon squirrel with the dog fur coat and my problems with woodland creatures. This problem that I have with woodland creatures, you would think would have been over after the whole demon squirrel thing, but it was just beginning. Didn't know that this particular squirrel, the one that I kicked, not the demon squirrel, but the one that I kicked that blew up and shit, he was like some kind of consulate or, representative of sorts. They were investigating his, link to the whole juvenile ostrich porn thing that they were investigating. Like I told you, this got the woodland world in an uproar because, now other woodland creatures are wondering just, who are these squirrels watching in their porn videos and shit? And if ostriches are a target, well, maybe the foxes and badgers and shit could be targets as well. And they don't want their loved ones, little hatchlings and shit, whatever else, live birth animals. They don't want them in these perverted ass goddamn squirrels' hands or on their devices either. You know what I'm saying? So, huge investigation was going on. And I found out about this huge ass investigation because I get a phone call one day while I'm sitting at home chilling, right? Hello. Speak to Mr. Mitchell, please. Oh, yeah, this is him speaking. How can I help you? Yeah, this is, Detective Bear of the WPD. WPD? Woodland Police Department, bitch! Whoa, no need for the fucking animosity. I'm a bear, goddammit. I have one fucking tone, and it's bear, okay? So, I suggest that you get your ass down here to the knoll in the woods by the tree that fell over by the pond at 3 o'clock, alright? And if I don't, then I'm gonna come to your house, and I'm not knocking on your fucking door, okay? And I haven't eaten in like 6 fucking months. You know what that means, bitch? Yeah, I know what it means. Do I need a lawyer? You can bring one if you want. I could use a snack. Be there at 3 o'clock. Please eat something before I get there, because I'd like to go home. I hang up the phone, right? I don't know what the fuck to expect. I'm thinking to myself, probably has something to do with the amount of woodland creatures that I've gone around killing in many different ways. Mice, and rabbits, and squirrels. I assault squirrels more than I kill them, you know what I'm saying? He killed himself by blowing up like that. And the demon squirrel's not dead. Although, well, I guess technically he is dead since we shredded his soul and shit. He's just a husk inhabited by a demon now. But that's not the fucking point. I knew this day was coming eventually. I was gonna have to answer to the many creatures whose rib cages were crushed under the foot of me. I knew this was coming, right? So, just to be an asshole, right? Just to be an asshole, I decide I'm gonna go down there with a Sherlin, right? A nice fur. In retrospect, it wasn't a very good idea, It wasn't a very good idea to do that. And I realized it when I got there. This little fucking beaver just so happened to be, I guess, some type of a clerk or something at the little knoll there. He's seen my Sherlin. Immediately starts crying. He starts bawling his eyes out, walks in, the grassy area somewhere that I can't see. And he's sobbing and shit. And, this other beaver comes out and he's like, "You're so fucked up. You wore his fucking wife here." I'm like, "I didn't fucking know it was his fucking wife. How was I supposed to fucking know it was his wife? They don't fucking put the names of fucking animals on the goddamn fur when they fucking make shit with it. They just make it shit. Well, you knew it was an animal, didn't you? I'm like, yeah, I knew it was an animal. So, and what's your point? Did I know it was one of you animals? No. I mean, shit. I didn't ask what kind of fur it was made from. They just said fur, and I said, fuck it. If you guys would sit your asses fucking still, then we could probably just shave it off of you and not have to kill you. You need the skin too, idiot. Well, I didn't know that. I'm not, a fur person. I very rarely wear it. That's not the point. I'm here, 3 o'clock, some fucking detective bear told me I need to be here for some type of questioning. I don't quite like talking to you because you're a fucking beaver telling me I'm insensitive for wearing a fucking fur coat. Do you see us wearing skin suits? No. I don't see you wearing skin suits. So, okay then. If I wore a skin suit to your house and it just so happened to be your kid or some shit, how would you feel about that? I'd fucking shoot you with a shotgun immediately. There'd be no question. Exactly. Now you see, we're not shooting you with a shotgun and you're wearing his wife. Alright, I get your fucking point. Damn, take the jacket off. Shit. So I took off my jacket, trying to be sensitive to these assholes. But it doesn't help them that now it's hanging up. And so, like, every single time somebody comes into this little knoll area, they, like, speak to the jacket like, it's something. And it's not. So now they're mad at me even more. Because, they're like, oh, that's a really fucked up joke. One fucking beaver came in, he's, like, talking to the coat like it's a chick. I guess they don't see very well and shit. I would have been able to tell it was a fucking coat because I wore it there. But that's not the point. Anyway, right? So now this deer comes out, right? He's like, hey, I'm Sergeant Bambi. And, Detective Bear is inside. He wants to talk to you. I'm going to be there in the interrogation. Interrogation? Usually interrogate people who you've arrested. Am I under arrest? No. But you can't leave. Why can't I leave? That's not how it works in human world. If you're not arresting me, I have a right to get up and walk away. Well, you have a right to get up and walk away. Yeah, I do. I think I will. But Bear's going to come after you, and he's going to fuck you up. And you don't want to get smacked by Detective Bear. I'm telling you right now, I saw him smack another guy, head came right off. And then he ate him. Alright, fine. Look, I don't want to be bear shit at all. Or any animal shit for that matter. So, do I need a lawyer? Only if you want Bear to have a snack. You guys keep telling me this shit. This doesn't really feel like I have much say in what's going to go down here. I mean, if you say I did something wrong, what am I going to do? Fight a fucking bear? You're just going to eat me anyway. Yeah, well, it's a chance you take. Come on, let's go. So, I'm not feeling too good about my chances here. I've walked right into the den of the bear, basically. Like, literally, I've walked into this bear's den, and I'm pretty sure now, because of all these jokes they keep making about the whole lawyer thing, that he's probably going to eat me. I'm a little worried. Make a quick text on my cell phone, text fam, let them know, hey, Dad's over here talking to some woodland creatures about some shit they won't tell me about, and I got to speak to a detective bear, and I'm not feeling too good about this. So if I don't come home, I'm at some knoll. You'll probably find me scattered amongst the feces of woodland creatures. I went into this office, which was basically just a hole in a burrow somewhere. Nice little lighting situation going on. Desk was, nicely decorated and shit. Picture of his wife and cubs over there. Cubs looked a little retarded, but hey, I wasn't gonna tell him that shit. So he's sitting in the chair. He's facing this dirt wall, which, would have made sense if there was a window there, but I didn't say anything. I just left it alone. So he asked me some questions. He said, hey, you piece of shit. We know about you and your transgressions against woodland creatures. Groundhogs, rabbits, squirrels, mice. I know what you're probably thinking, like, why the fuck do you care? You're a bear. Well, every now and then I like to snack on some of these things, and you've been fucking it up. And I'm not happy about that, but that's not why we're here. That's not why we're here? No, that's not why we're here. So why are we here? When I asked that, the deer, Sergeant Bambi, and then some other bird, fucking hawk, comes in. He's the captain. He's flying around. He's mad. He's yelling and shit, squawking, making all types of noise. I don't really get what he's talking about, but he's buzzing around this bear's head. Something fucking fierce. And the bear has no ends, right? He has no ends. He can't really argue with this fucking Captain Hawk that's flown in here now and is like really giving him the business. And I can tell he's getting the business because the look on his fucking big face. His jaw kind of like slacks down and shit. He looks, hurt. Like this Captain Hawk has given him the business. Now, as the hawk finishes flying around his head, he starts flying around the fucking deer's head, making all types of noises and shit. The deer starts smiling, he's fucking happy about whatever it is this fucking hawk says. The hawk flies over towards the door, closes it, fucking flutters to the table, lands. He's looking at me. It's like, I'm Captain Hawk. I'm like, okay, that's nice. Why am I here and what's going on? Like, what did you do to the bear? He looks really sad now. Not that that's really any concern of mine, but, it could impede this investigation of yours if he's in a bad mood when he's questioning me and I don't answer his question right. He might bite my head off. Well, don't worry about it. That's why I'm here. I'm here to make sure this interrogation goes the way it's supposed to go. Now, here's the facts, all right? That fucking squirrel you kicked last week, the one that blew up and shit, well, yeah, we were watching him, surveilling him for quite some time. And we found out that he's into a lot more than just ostrich porn. He might have some eagle porn. And the reason why the bear is so upset right now is I just had to tell him that his kids were on some of the porn that we found in that guy's cache as well. I didn't know bear porn was a thing, especially cubs. They're so cute, they do nothing but roll around and do stuff. But the stuff that we saw in this fucking video was downright disturbing even for animals. So, the fact that you killed this squirrel has left us in a bit of a quandary, and now we need to know what you know, because we know you know stuff. Because you're always fucking around with woodland creatures, so it begs the reason that you've heard some things. I've heard some things. You have heard some things. We know you've heard some things. We've talked to some of the people that know that you've heard things and told you the things that you've heard. So if you've talked to the people that told me the things that I've heard, what do you need to talk to me for? You have everything that you need to know, right? That's when the fucking Sergeant Bambi slams his hoof on the fucking table, right? Immediately in my head, I'm thinking, here we go. They're about to do fucking good cop, bad cop, right? So I chuckle to myself because I'm like, okay, I get this. You got the fucking hawk who's over here. He's obviously the good guy because he's talking to me and shit. Now Mr. Bambi here, smacking the table. He's about to do some bad cop shit. Like, I'm gonna be afraid of a fucking deer. Motherfucker, I eat you for jerky and venison steaks. There's nothing frightening about you at all, except for when, like, you run into you when you're driving and shit and you fuck up a car. It's about the only time that you're a threat. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I didn't say that to the guy, obviously. I don't want him to, like, smack me in the face with his hoof with a bear sitting there. That's, they're actually working together and shit. So, yeah, I just chuckled to myself. So, I guess the hawk, with his super sensitive hearing and can see shit, can tell that I think that this is full of shit. That I'm like, whatever, like a fucking deer bad guy, right? So he says to me, he says, I know what you're thinking. I'm like, what am I thinking? He's like, you're thinking good cop, bad cop. We don't do that here. I'm like, what do you mean you don't do that here? It's just when he says that, right? The bear grabs the fucking deer and eats him right in front of my fucking face. I'm flabbergasted. The fucking hawk is just looking at me with his beak. If he could smile, I think he would have been smiling at that time, because the look in his eye was like, yeah, not bad cop, good cop, bad cop, even worse cop, and now dead cop. And that's what I thought he was thinking. And that's exactly what he's thinking, because that's what he said to me. He's like, now, do you really think that you are not going to tell us what it is that we want to know? I said, I'll tell you anything. I'll tell you what you want to know and stuff you don't want to know. I'll tell you as many things as you can possibly squeeze into your tiny bird brain, because I don't want to end up like that. I don't. at all. And I'm glad he just ate him, because that means he's not hungry. So he probably won't eat meat. And he might not eat you, but he'll maul you. He'll maul you something bad. So here's the question. Where are they sending all the information that they're gathering? The porn. Where are they sending it to? I don't know. I mean, I could show you, like, their computers and things that I didn't destroy, that are in their homes, that you could have found yourselves, but you're right here in the woods. If you did a little bit of police work, it seems like you guys want me to. Bear slams his hand, bloody as it is, down upon the desk, breaks it in half. I shut the fuck up. I shut the fuck up. You know, the Hulk looks at me again. Alright, let's try this one more time. Where are they sending all the information to? Now, honestly, I don't know where they're sending the information to. I have no clue. I mean, if I did, trust me, I would tell these people this, because, well, animals, because I don't want to have anything to do with this shit, right? It's just at this time when I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what the fuck am I going to do to get out of this, that a fucking sparrow flies in, and he's freaking out. Oh my god, oh my god! You know, chirping in fucking Captain Hawk's ear. And Captain Hawk looks at me and says, stay right here. You know, he flies out the room real fast and shit, you know. I'm looking at the bear now, and he's looking at me. He asked me a couple of questions that I wasn't expecting. He said, you ever see the movie Great Outdoors? I was like, yeah, it's a classic. It's fucking hilarious. And then I'm thinking, you know, because in my head, I'm imagining one of the funniest scenes in the fucking movie, right? Where the bear gets shot in the ass, and like all the fur flies off, and you see the pellets smack into individual naked bear butt cheeks, and the bear gets all oh, and runs off like screaming, right? And I'm laughing because I'm like, you know, me and my bro were like, yo, I wonder if they shaved the bear's head, you know, for the fucking movie and shit. Now, I didn't say it to him, but I was wondering, like, it's a bear. I wonder if they shot him in the ass with buckshot for real, because it's a bear, you know. It's not going to kill him. It'll make him mad, sting a lot, but it's not going to kill him. And now this bear is looking at me when I'm thinking all this, and I can see this look on its face, and I started to notice something. I started to notice something that I wish I had noticed before I kind of like chuckled on the inside, right? This bear was old. I mean, he was an old bear. He was a really old bear. He had some gray in his fur that I didn't notice until I was closer to him, right? You could see the undertones of grayness in his brown fur. And as I got a little closer, I noticed that the hair on the top of his head wasn't as long as the fur everywhere else. I mean, it wasn't super noticeable from a distance, but as you got closer, you kind of noticed it. I felt a feeling of dread come over me, because I was like, oh shit, no. Don't let this be, you know, who I think it is, right? And it was. You know, the bear from fucking Great Outdoors. Turns around, shows me his ass. Not that I wanted to see it, but he showed it to me. And he said, you know, started talking about his days in Hollywood and shit, different movies he was in, commercials for like, you know, honey and stuff. And he's like, you know, I don't really understand why you humans think that something as big as us, like, we give two fucks about honey or bees. I was like, you know, I wondered that myself, you know, Mr. Bear, Detective Bear, I'm sorry. Can I ask why, you know, that whole thing came about, like this whole bears in honey and shit? He's like, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. I'm sure I would. I mean, come on, nobody's gonna believe me telling them that I was accosted by the WPD and questioned by a bear, a hawk, and a deer that you ate momentarily ago. Like, you know, whatever. The thing just let me know, how did this happen? You know, it's like, well, you know, back in the day, you know, a bunch of us bears doing what bears do, you know, eating stuff, foraging in the woods, scaring people, because that's one of our favorite pastimes. You should see the look on your faces when we're like doing kind of cute bear stuff. You know, we're on all fours and we're playing around with the tree, or we're scratching our back on it and shit. We're acting like we don't notice that you're watching us because we know how dumb you guys are. Like, for whatever strange reason, you're like, oh wow, gigantic huge predator that will eat me with his bare hands and teeth. Let me creep up on it, thinking that it doesn't notice I'm there. Not gonna wonder what's gonna happen when it does notice I'm there and I've startled the shit out of a gigantic, humongous creature that weighs 5 times my weight and has claws bigger than my arm. No. Yeah, I'm gonna creep up on this unsuspecting woodland predator and I'm gonna capture it on film. I myself have had my fair share of hikers as snacks. We call them trail mix. That's genius. That is genius. Trail mix, a bunch of hikers on the trail. That's pretty morbid too, now that I think about it. Fucking trail mix. Yeah, but that's what we call hikers that venture too far into the woods. We call them trail mix. Sometimes we even like cover over your paths, and then we make paths into our little dens. And we turn these into little stores. I actually have my own trail mix store about 2 miles from here. I'm doing pretty good, actually. Doing pretty good. Now, anyway, back to the story about how we got to be known with honey and bees for some strange reason. A long time ago, like I said, we were doing bear stuff. Bees were doing bee stuff. Birds were doing bird stuff. We were all doing our own stuff, right? The bees came over and said, hey, bear, you've been rubbing your back up against this tree. It's shaking the shit out of our goddamn hive. Alright, now we've asked you before if you could, you know, find another tree to scratch your back on. There's like hundreds of them within the 10-foot radius of this location. Why this tree? Why? The bear, of course, is not, you know, we don't give a fuck about a goddamn bee. It's a fucking bee. He swatted at it. It's made to be angry. So, one day, you know, the bees had enough of this jackass fucking with their shit. Now they notice bees, you know, bears have fur. And when tree sap gets in it, makes it very sticky and stuff. It's clumped together. It's annoying as shit to get tree sap in your fucking back fur. You get these little dreadlocks and shit. It's fucking aggravating. Anyway, bees were smart. They vacated the hive, got the queen out, left it full of fucking honey. Because they knew that along with, you know, it making them sticky as shit, it would draw tons and tons and tons of other insects, like flies and other things like wasps, hornets, stinging creatures that love the sweet taste of honey. I see where the bees are going with this, and god damn it, I love them. Yeah, do you? Well, yeah, I do. I mean, it's not like they did it to me. They did it to you guys. But back to your story. Well, you know what happened. He was scratching his back on the goddamn tree as usual. The bees had weakened the supports of the damn hive just enough so that the shaking would shake the damn hive right off the tree branch, which it did, smashing down on the head of the bear below, dripping all of this honey all over the bear's head and face and back. Now, while this is happening, the bear's flipping the fuck out. He got some of the honey in his eyes. Honey in a bear's eyes is not good, doesn't feel good at all. Probably wouldn't feel good to you guys either. Probably don't get honey in your eyes very often, but trust me, it stings like a son of a bitch. Anyway, he's got honey in his eyes. He's flipping out now. He's making all types of noises and stuff. And just so happens, some trail mix was hiking by. They saw this bear with the honeybees flying around him. He's all sticky with honey. And it just became assumed that bears like honey. Now, I'm not going to lie. Every now and then I'll grab a fucking beehive and eat it. It's delicious and crunchy, and then you get all those bees in there. Crunchy and sweet. It is one of the best snacks you can ever have. But we don't eat it very often. It's one of those things sort of like a guilty pleasure. You have it once in a while. Besides the fact that it hurts like hell to eat a whole hive full of fucking bees that are trying not to be eaten and doing anything they can to not be eaten. Pretty much you don't eat anything for about the next 6 months. So you gotta really want that goddamn honey and the pain associated with it. So we don't really bother honey that much. And maybe once in our lives we'll have some fucking honey. But that's not the point anyway. That's where the whole fucking thing comes from. Alright, so back to this thing that you guys got me here for. You know, the whole squirrel animal porn network that they've got going. You know, your kids, that's really fucked up. Like, you know, they have your kids. I'm feeling like just a question. Where were you guys at? That, you know, these squirrels were... Well, in fact, how did these squirrels get close enough to your cubs without your cubs fucking, like, eating them or something? Or putting cameras in your domicile so they could, like, watch you doing whatever you do? Especially recently. You guys were, like, hibernating for the past 6 months, so, like, what the fuck were they watching? We have nightmares in our sleep. We do all types of weird stuff while we're hibernating. We don't just lay there like lumps. I wish that was the case, but we don't. That's why we have to dig deep burrows and hide from the world, because we do weird things when we're sleeping. We sleepwalk, we sleep talk, we sleep eat, we sleep fuck sometimes. It's ridiculous. It's how sometimes my wife, you know, we hibernate. Before we hibernate, she's not pregnant. We wake up and all of a sudden she's ready to fucking pop out a kid. I'm thinking that she's slipping out during hibernation and fucking around with the bear next door, but I'm not 100% sure because, you know, the cubs do look like me and shit. It's like, that's a lot of information, Detective Bear, that I really don't need. What I'd like to know is how much longer am I going to be stuck down here dealing with this shit that I really have nothing to do with? As soon as I got those words out of my mouth, the hawk flies through the window of the door. Doesn't even open the fucking shit. Shh. We got him, Detective Bear. We got him. Who? Him. Right? They rush out, leaving me sitting there looking like a fucking idiot. And I'm wondering who the fuck they're talking about. Does it have something to do with this squirrel? Does it have something to do with me? I don't waste any more fucking time trying to figure this out. I leave. Right? You know, the beaver at the gate or door or desk or no entrance. He's looking at me really salty. You know, really salty. I'm looking for my jacket, and it's not there. It's not there, right? So I look back at this fucking beaver. I'm like, dude, I need my coat, right? Where's my coat? He tells me I can have the outer lining, but he's gonna bury his wife properly. And he hands me back the outer lining of my fucking Shirley Sans fur. I throw the shit back at him and tell him to fucking keep it, bury the whole goddamn thing. In fact, wrap her up in that and use it as the casket or the plastic bag that I'm pretty sure her remains were tossed in. I turned around and I walked out the door. I heard him say fuck you and a bunch of other stuff. The other beaver was holding him back like he was going to do something. I mean, trust me, beaver, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, watching me on WoodTube like you guys usually do. I want you to understand something, beaver. I kick woodland creatures like Pele kicked soccer balls. Okay? I don't hesitate. I don't wait. And I don't give two fucks about what Peter thinks. Okay? You want to come save him? Come on. I'll kick you too. I've got a boot specifically for this purpose. Steel toe. Right? Steel toe. Also, the bottom is steel reinforced. So when I put my foot in said ass, I can do so with a force that's sure to push your rectum and anus through your esophagus and out your fucking face. That's just what it is, woodland creatures. That's just what it is. Now, of course, thanks to the squirrels, and I blame fucking the mice for starting this whole thing in the fucking first place. Now I'm gonna have to sit here and wonder what the hell that goddamn hawk flew through the fucking door and snatched Detective Bear out the house for, talking about we got him. I wonder who it is they got. Wonder if I ever find out. And I hope that it has nothing else to do with me. Because seriously, folks, with summertime around the corner and spring on our heels, and where I live at, you have absolutely no idea the reckoning that is coming my way. And I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I've gotten the letters. I've gotten the tufts of fucking brush and rocks and other stuff that animals would build burrows with, and they keep throwing it at the building that I live at as if I give a shit. We have a maintenance guy who cleans all that stuff up, so it's not doing me any injustice. You know, you're just wasting your fucking time. But I know it's gonna be a problem. I know it's gonna be a problem. Like I said, they've been sending me letters and shit. Stay your ass out the woods. Don't go hiking. Wait until we see you under a tree. You know, all types of shit. Fuck your picnic. Don't go fishing. You know, just basically threatening me to stay my ass wherever the city is at and stay away from anything where there's trees, grass, woods, bushes, and shit. Which is pretty much 99% of the area that I live in. I'd be relegated to this one little place, and they're not going to do that to me. Now, I'm hoping like hell that I just only have beef with bunnies and groundhogs and squirrels and fucking maybe a beaver now, because that asshole is probably butthurt of his wife being my jacket, as if I knew. But whatever, you know, I'm just hoping the birds stay, you know, the way they have been most of the time, which is cool with me, because I mean, in the end of it, they benefited greatly from my charades. I feed them bread, you know, which makes the little woodland creatures come out thinking that it's for them. And the hawks and the eagles and shit, I used to watch them all the time. Fucking come down and swoop up this unsuspecting squirrel or chipmunk, you know what I'm saying, and eat them. Like, it was a fucking wonderful thing to watch. So I guess that's another reason why the squirrels and shit hate me. Definitely chipmunks. They don't like me at all. But my beef with chipmunks goes way back. In fact, I'll take you there real quick to like kind of what happened between me and the chipmunks. Now, animal lovers, I'm going to tell you this right now. This little part of the story right here, you're not going to like, okay? Because a lot of it is actually true shit. So you're going to be like, that is fucked up, and this person is a terrible person, and he hates animals, and we should kill him. If you feel that way, you can try it, and I guarantee you it's not going to work out the way you want it to. You know, siding with other things that aren't important, right? Now, like I said, you're going to be butthurt, but I'm going to be honest, right? Now, when I was like 17, living in New Hampshire, remember one day I was outside, kind of like sort of camping, but not really camping. It's like half-ass camping, right? Stayed out there real late. And I noticed something late at night. Fucking shit ton of fucking frogs would come out. Like I'm never seen this many fucking frogs, toads, whatever. They ribbited and made frog noises and shit, and they hopped around. And there were literally thousands of them every night. And then sometimes in the early morning. Right? Now, I'm sitting here looking at all this craziness because I was from the city at the time. I had never seen outside nighttime without street lights. Never seen as many stars as I saw. Moonlight was like moonlight. Like I could see my shadow in moonlight, which I had never seen before. So, this is all new to me. All this shit that's going on. Wild ass animals and badgers and fucking foxes and fucking hawks, eagles, ospreys, woodchucks, beavers. Just all this life that I had never seen. And frogs. Lots and lots and lots of frogs. Frogs on trees, frogs in grass, frogs in the water, toads on the ground. Like everywhere you look, there were frogs. And one day I accidentally stepped on one, and this caused a huge fucking problem that I'm ashamed to talk about. But since, somebody asked me, why is it that I think it's okay to walk around kicking woodland creatures, I figured I'd give you a little bit of backstory on just who the fuck it is that I am. And you'll understand a little bit more why kicking a woodland creature means nothing to me at all. I take joy in it. I enjoy every moment. Every moment. It reminds me of my days playing soccer, when I used to kick the ball away from the goalie or kick the ball towards a goalie. My goal in mind to either make a goal or make the goal of kicking the ball into the face of the goalie as he tried to block it. I know, that's a really fucked up thing to think, but it was what I thought. One day I was successful actually kicking a ball into someone's face. Hard as shit. Hard as shit. Broke their nose. Got ejected from the game for it. But that's not what we were talking about. We're talking about this frog shit. Not their shit, but the shit that happened with the frogs when I accidentally stepped on one of them. He ribbited. It was hilarious at first. And then when I heard the crescendo of fucking ribbits coming towards me, I realized that this wasn't a good thing that had just happened. Now, it was a fucking accident. Like I told you, I was half-ass camping, came out my little tent, frog was up on my tent. Okay? What he was planning on doing, I don't know. What he was doing, I don't know. I know what he did after I came out, and that was died. Probably of crushed internal organs. Traumatic body injury. Right? Anyway. So all these frogs are coming at me. I haul ass back up the hill, back into the house. Now, the room that I lived in at the time was in, well, if you're at the front of the house, it would look like the basement, but from the back of the house, because the house is built into a hill, you could walk right into the back door. It was weird. It gave you a fucked up perspective because, like I said, from the front you're underground, but from the back the window is up. But when you're, but then, right? Anyway, so I'm looking out the window, and since the ground is lower in the back window than it is in the front window, I have to pull up and look down. I don't see any of them, but I'm hearing them, right? I turn around to the other window, which is, eye level is level with the ground, and there's a whole bunch of them sitting right at the window looking at me, right? Looking at me. One of them speaks. Of course, you're like, yeah, right. You're joking because you said this is a true story. It is a true story. This really did happen. He spoke to me and said, hey, look, you know what? You fucking stepped on my brother. Our brother. I'm looking at all these goddamn frogs and shit. I'm like, well, how many of you are there? That's not a fucking question that you should be worried about asking right now. The question that I want to know is, how the fuck are you just going to step on my bro like that, man? I said, first things first, what the fuck was your brother doing right up on my goddamn tent? You know what I'm saying? What was his intentions? What was his intentions? Was he trying to steal something? Was your brother like a human raper? Just trying to rape me in my sleep? Land on my face? Do some frog nonsense on my face? Probably rub his fucking frog balls. You're trying to frog teabag me. You know what? Your brother got what he deserved. Because the only thing I can think of you doing at my tent is something that you shouldn't be doing at my tent, and that's why your brother's no longer doing anything. He took that as an insult, and it wasn't an insult. It was just the facts. It was just the facts. His brother was outside my tent. He's not doing anything anymore now because he's dead outside my tent. Right? This enraged all of them, you know. And I didn't realize what frogs were capable of doing until I pissed off a whole bunch of frogs and toads, amphibians, you know, newt, salamanders, things like that. They were all mad, right? They were all mad. So at this time, I had no problems with woodland creatures. You know what I'm saying? They were cool with me for the most part. They did their shit and I did mine, and they never really got in my way, right? But these amphibians and shit, me and them had problems. And all because they were trying to do whatever they were trying to do outside my tent and then got smashed in the process of doing said thing. Like, I didn't come out there intending to hurt any of them. But when they started with their shit, it was on. And it didn't stop. It didn't stop for a long time. In fact, it's never stopped. I just haven't seen them in numbers like that, and the ones I do see leave me alone. One morning, I, left the window cracked. I knew when I went to work, it was a hot summer day, and the way my window was facing, a lot of sun came through it, so I didn't want the room to be a fucking hot box when I got home that night. So I left the window open to, get some air in there. And went to work. Walking home, it's like 12 o'clock in the morning, so it's nighttime now. The moon's up. Usually you can hear the crickets and, whatever nighttime birds there are, usually the owls and things like that. And of course the frogs. But the frogs were really quiet. They were quiet as shit, which I found strange. Now the crickets were loud. Louder than usual. As if there were more of them than there usually are. Right? So, I cut through the woods. Normally I would walk straight up the road, you know what I'm saying? But I decided to cut through the woods because it does take me right to my back door instead of having to go in the front and come, cut around the property. So, I cut through the woods, right? And I'm noticing there's no noise of frog. And these crickets are really loud. So I stop and just listen for a while. So I asked one of the crickets, I'm like, hey, dude, I know what you're thinking. You asked one of the crickets. Yes, I did. I asked one of the crickets. You should know by now that I talk to all types of creatures on this earth. I have the ability to do so. You may not, but I do. So don't be upset or jealous or hate that you can't. I do, and trust me, you don't want to. You don't want to know half the things that these creatures think. They don't like us. Most things on this planet hate us, but that's not the point. So I asked the cricket, hey cricket, what the fuck is going on? It sounds like you guys are out here having a goddamn party. And he's like, we are having a fucking party. We're having a party of our lives because there's no way in the world this is going to last for very long. I was like, well, what's happening? He said, look, we came out here doing like we usually do, looking for some fucking, female crickets. We're playing our fucking tunes and we're hiding, you know what I'm saying? We're playing them and hiding because every time we usually play them, fucking frog comes out, eats us and shit, which is pretty fucked up to get eaten while you're trying to get some goddamn tail. Yeah, that is fucked up. I couldn't imagine, like, I was getting ready to go out, like, let's just say, for the sake of argument, I was on a date, and as soon as I'm about to go home and, do the deed, something fucking eats me. And, like, it was a trap the whole time, right? Like, the whole scenario was a trap. That's fucked up. Right? So I felt like how they, I could identify what they were going through right quick, right? Like, I totally got it. So I was like, so where the fuck are the frogs? He's like, we don't know, and we really don't give a fuck, but wherever they are, I'd like to thank them, right? So, I walked talking to this cricket as I'm walking home. He's like having a goddamn fucking sexcapade. You know, every 10 hops or so, he mates with a fucking female cricket. I'm like, dude, do you like not even, do you, no, I don't know, and I don't care. I'm like, I guess that makes sense. He's like, I'm not gonna live to be too much older than I am, right? And he died. Just like that. It was fucking weird as shit. I don't know what killed him, but he just died. I guess he went out doing what he loved, hitting fucking cricket twat and making cricket babies. Anyway, right, so other crickets are dancing around doing cricket stuff, and I get to the house, right? And like I said, it's still eerily quiet. Badger runs up on me real quick. Hey, have you seen any of the frogs? I'm like, no, you know, the crickets were just telling me that there's like no frogs around anywhere. He's like, I can't find any either, and I'm fucking starving. Usually I'd have like 5 of them in me by now. God damn. Where'd you see those crickets? Everywhere. I guess I'll have to have something light. He runs off, right? I'm like, ugh, he's about to go eat crickets. Nasty. I wouldn't eat those fucking things. Open the door, and I walk in the house, go to the bathroom, you know, do bathroom stuff, wash my hands. I'm walking out the bathroom, right? I heard a ribbit. Just one. I was like, that's weird. Is that coming from inside the house? So we don't have any pet frogs. Now remember, I left my window open. Wasn't thinking about this, right? You know, didn't even dawn on me at all, because like I said, they're frogs. I wasn't really taking them, you know, seriously. You know, I was just like, whatever, I don't care. Frogs aren't gonna do shit. And even if they do shit, you see how easy it was for me to piss them off in the fucking first place by simply stepping on them. So these I wouldn't even have to kick. And I wasn't into kicking any creature at this time, so my woodland creature kicking days had not yet begun. I stepped on this guy. Now, when I opened the door to my room, what I was greeted with is something that sparked a conflict which raged for about a year straight and cost the lives of over 1,000 frogs. That's right, folks, 1,000 frogs or more. Opened my door, and immediately upon pulling it back to walk in, I was greeted with hundreds of frogs, toads, salamanders, nude, slimy fucking amphibious creatures pounced me. The weight of them knocked me down to my bed. Started walking across my face, slimy ass bastards. I don't know what they were secreting, but they were cracking the fuck up as they did and slimed me. One of the toads crawled in my fucking mouth, and I hallucinated the worst hallucinations I had ever hallucinated in my life. For about 12 hours straight, these fucking toads, amphibious creatures, tortured me. They tortured me something terrible. They kept jumping on my face, and they're not very heavy, so it's not like it hurts. It's just this wet, sticky thing slapping you on your face, and then another one slapping you on your face, your forehead, your down. You know, it was a terrible fucking thing that lasted for 12 hours. And then they all hopped off. And I'm sitting here feeling violated, definitely disrespected, hurt. You know, that was unnecessary. Scarred for life I was. I didn't leave my room for about a week. Lost my job. I tried to tell them I had PTSD from a fucking amphibious attack, and they told me I wasn't in the military. I said I didn't mean amphibious as far as me assaulting something amphibiously. I was assaulted by amphibians, therefore an amphibious attack. They laughed at me. told me that my services were no longer needed and that I should probably seek professional help. So I stayed in the room for like a week. And I come out. It's like they have to pay. They have to pay. Now, I had a little money stashed up because I did little side things, little hustles here and there. I went and I bought myself my first airsoft rifle. Yeah, that's right, folks. An airsoft rifle. You know exactly where the fuck I'm going with it. And you're going to listen. You're going to listen. And I know what you're saying. What the fuck does this have to do with the woodland creatures? I'm going to get to it, and you'll find out where all this woodland creature beef started from in the first place. Now, I went and got my first airsoft rifle, right? Now, of course, they have those little plastic BBs and shit. That wasn't good enough for me. That wasn't good enough for me. All I had to do was make sure I could match the same weight with a metal pellet. And I did. And when I did, I loaded about, I don't know, as many little metal pellets as I could fit into that big, gigantic container. Probably 1,000 or more. I remember the morning that I started my rampage. I woke up, I grabbed my little BB gun, which was a little Glock pistol. It wasn't an air-powered one, it was annoying. You had to cock it back every time you wanted to shoot. I think it was a spring load. Either way, I got that, and I got my airsoft rifle, which was semi-automatic. And fully automatic if I wanted it to be, but I liked it on semi-automatic, because I had a scope. The mist was thick on the ground, and I knew that in thick, misty mornings, the frogs like to hide in the mist and suck up insects and just get moist and disgusting. Fucking amphibious bastards. And I knew that they would always be by the riverbed. I mean the riverbank. They were always deep, early in the morning, by the riverbank. I happened upon a couple of frogs sitting on top of a log. I dug down behind a stump and some brush, pulled out my airsoft rifle, lined up my shot, and I blew that goddamn frog's top of his little head right off. It just disappeared. Ha! I was like, I didn't expect that. I thought more like it was gonna hit him and make a little hole and he was just gonna drop over. But it was interesting nonetheless to see his head pretty much explode. Now the frog sitting there next to him was shocked. He had absolutely no idea what to do. He looked in one direction, he looked in another direction, he poked his head up, and when he did, I put a shot right through that little thing that gets bigger and smaller when they're doing their little rivet shit. Right through it. He drops. That's 2 down. I'm getting good at this now. Both shots hit. Now I know what you're saying. That's fucked up. You're shooting frogs. I am shooting frogs. But there's hundreds, if not thousands of them. It was an overpopulation of them. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking, right? There's way too many frogs. So I continued on my quest. I said to myself, I'm not going to stop shooting frogs until I empty out this airsoft gun. So here I am walking around, fucking murdering frogs left and right, everywhere I see. I lift up logs looking for them. They're like, oh, just put 2 in his back, pow, pow, ah, he's just laying there. Throw a log down on top of his ass, smash him. Word got back to the thicker part of the fucking woods that I was coming, and I was not taking any prisoners. I was shooting tadpoles. Yeah, walk right up on the river's edge. I see their little fucking asses come up to the fucking thing to get a breath of air. Pow! You see a little splash. Sometimes they would shake went and hit him right in the head. I catch him in like the part where they were gonna grow like a leg or some shit. So they'd swim around in circles sideways, probably in excruciating pain, blood filling the water. Then other fish that were, carnivorous little fish would come over there and start eating them. I laughed. I remember while I was walking along this river's edge, they have these little buoy type things that, tell you the water level of the river. There was a bird sitting out there on top of it, right? And he wasn't minding his goddamn business because he turns to me and he says, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you shooting those?" Pow! I shot him right in the chest. He falls in the water, right? He's flopping around in the water like a fucking idiot for a little while and then stops. I see him go under. I'm going to assume some swimming fish of some sort. Said, delicious bird meal. I'll have poultry tonight, thank you. Right? Should have minded his own fucking business. Now, since no other birds were in the area, and until now that was unknown, birds were cool with me. I hope that doesn't change anything, birds, because he should have minded his own fucking business. Now back to these fucking frogs, which will get us to this chipmunk. I'm out there murdering the fuck out of these frogs. I must be halfway through my container of BBs. I'm missing some shots now. I mean, at this point, I'm not even aiming anymore. I'm just like wholesale, fully automatic, just spraying these fucking frogs in trees, in the water, in the grass, on rocks, on logs, in logs, under logs, wherever I can find them, I'm shooting them. They're hopping, screaming, telling their other fucking frog and amphibious friends to run. This one salamander walked up to me and he was like, "Hey buddy, that's really," and I shot him too. I said, "Don't get in the fucking mix or I'll go ham on y'all too. Right now I just want you hoppy bastards. That's it. But if you want it, you can get it." Now the snakes are watching this all go down, and they're not saying anything, right? He definitely didn't want no smoke. He definitely didn't want no smoke. He just slithered off, like, that's fucking crazy, right? Now, I get to this spot in the woods where it's getting a little drier now, so I'm not seeing as many of these little fucking frogs and toads. They're few and far between now, right? So I've taken up a spot where I'm sniping a few that happen to be coming near this pile, and I don't know if it was a dead animal or not, but there were flies and stuff around it and other insects, and every now and then a frog would appear and try to get himself a meal, and I'd fucking let him have it, right? I'd let him have it. So I'm watching this little pile for hours. I kill about 10 or 15 fucking frogs in the course of these hours, right? Now, I'm getting a little tired. I've got like maybe 3 or 4 of these BBs left. Frog pops up, I shoot, miss. Another one pops up, I shoot, miss. Now I've got 2 left, right? 2 left. Been staring at shit I've been murdering all day, so my eyes are playing tricks on me at this point. I see something pop up, right? Thing pops up. And immediately, I shoot it. Pow! Hit it in, I guess, the shoulder or arm. It turns and it looks at me. I look into the scope, and I realize, oh shit, I just shot a fucking chipmunk. Now, he's not dead, but he's shot, and he's, looking around like he wants to know who shot him. Now, there's a frog going towards him, right? There's a frog going towards him. I can only imagine that this frog was going to tell him what the fuck was going on, which is that I'm out here fucking murdering the fuck out of him. Probably tell him who I am and where I live. I couldn't have that happening. So I had to make a decision with the 1 BB left. Do I shoot and kill the fucking frog and let the fucking chipmunk be alive with a BB lodged in him that he might get out at one of these little fucking rodent doctors and they'll be like, "Hey, I've seen this before. This guy was just murdering a whole bunch of frogs, shot one, he ran into my little fucking clinic here. I pulled this out of him. It must be the same guy, right? That's what would happen if I shoot the frog and the fucking chipmunks live. If I shoot the chipmunk, chipmunk's dead, frogs are gonna be talking shit about me doing shit. I could probably run up on that frog, or who cares? Frogs and chipmunks don't usually talk to each other anyway. It'll just be a dead chipmunk. I'll dispose of the body, and even if this frog does go and tell chipmunks that I killed a chipmunk, why would they believe him? Why would they believe him? They have no reason to. They don't even fucking usually talk to each other, usually. So I shot the chipmunk. Pow! Hit him in the chest. He grabs his chest with the arm that I didn't shoot, falls over. I run over there real quick, grab him up, put him in the box. He's looking at me like, what did I ever do to you? I said nothing, man. You were just in the wrong fucking place at the wrong fucking time. And I'm so fucking sorry that I had to do this. And he said, do what? I thought you were coming to help me. I'm like, no, no. And I put my fingers over his little nose and mouth and I suffocated him. And then I dug a hole and I buried him in it, deep, for a fucking chipmunk. Like, it was probably deeper than you would bury most animals. I put him in the ground like I was putting a person in the ground, like 6 feet or more. Which is good. I didn't have to dig like a whole grave, so it was easy to dig like a 6 foot hole, like a little hole. It was easy. Throw him in there, cover him up. Frogs were looking at me like, and I was like, you know, you're lucky that I don't really have any more BBs and I'm tired now. I'm gonna go home. But you've learned your fucking lesson. You fuck with me again. You fuck with me again. And if you thought this was bad, well, see what happens when I start burning shit, okay? I'll burn your goddamn forest to the ground. Of course, I'm lying. I'm not gonna burn the forest to the ground. But imagine what a campfire looks like to a fucking frog. Probably looks like you're about to burn the forest to the ground. So that's what I let them know. Like, hey, that's what I'll do. And I didn't have any problems with amphibians after that, right? It actually made things worse for me later in life when I would find out the repercussions of affecting an ecosystem in that manner, when I would have to go back and fight the fucking hordes of mosquitoes that filled that void of missing frogs that were there to eat their larvae and them when they hatched. And I totally removed that, control from the equation, therefore leading to an amassed army of mosquitoes which the world had never seen. And I've explained to you that war, the mosquito wars that I fought and almost lost my life in, years ago. It also explains kind of like how the whole beef with the woodland creatures came about, So I guess in retrospect, it's all my fault, right? But Peter, you can kiss my ass because you can. You can. And yeah, you can go check the facts if you want to, Peter. There's a frog advocacy group in Epsom where this all took place. It's called the Epsom Frog Massacre. There's archives on it, and you can actually find the footage of the frog investigators that went in after I stopped murdering the fucking shit out of them, documenting the areas, places, and ways in which some of them were slain. Some were shot multiple times in the back. Many of them were shot in the back as they ran from me. Hopped away. Yeah. Peter, you can talk to them if you'd like. They'll tell you the stories. Of course, their population is fine now, with the abundance of mosquitoes that filled in the void that they left, they were able to repopulate. And they were my number one ally, in the war against the mosquitoes, right? Because they understood that what they did was fucked up. It was a misunderstanding. They were at my tent. I didn't kill him on purpose. I just came out my tent to see what the fuck was going on. He got stepped on. And then they took it too far. They took it way too far. And I took it further. I took it much further than it needed to go. But I needed them to understand that that's the way things work. That's the way it works. So yeah, that's what led to the mosquito wars and also the woodland problem that I'm having now. Which I fear. You guys are all worried about the shit that's happening in the world right now. Fucking Israel and Iran and the United States and everybody and fucking Ukraine and Russia. Those conflicts are not important, people. They're not important. What's important is what's going to happen if these woodland creatures declare war on humanity. And they're on the verge. And it's kind of my fault, but not my fault, really. Actually, it's not my fault at all. You guys have been hunting them down for thousands of fucking years. And not even for food. They kind of understand the food thing because they do it. You know what I'm saying? They eat each other. But the whole, mounting their heads on fucking walls and having them stuffed, now that they really don't like. They hate that shit. Especially when you stuff and then display like they're relative. Because they'll be thinking to themselves, oh shit, there's John. Haven't seen him in a while. It's my cuz. Gonna go see him, right? And they run up on your house or wherever you're displaying this fucking taxidermed carcass. And they're talking to it only to find out that they're not alive and they're stuffed. And then they wonder, what kind of morbid fucks stuff a carcass and then display it? Right? They do the same thing to us when they catch us, people. You don't believe me? Well, you got to talk to some of the animals that I've talked to that show me their collections, and you wouldn't like it. I didn't like it. It made me very uncomfortable. It's like, I wonder, how dogs feel when they belong to owners that are hunters, and they're helping these hunters hunt stuff that they later see head mounted on wall. Does the dog ever think, I wonder what's gonna happen to me if I ever make him mad? Is he gonna fucking kill me and mount my head on the wall? See, I would be that kind of owner that I would do that, especially if I had my dogs for a purpose. You are a hunting dog. It is your job to bring me back food. And if you don't do that, I'm gonna cut your fucking head off and stuff it. And I'm gonna display it with a sad look, not a menacing look. I don't want you to look mean or fucking gnarly or like you were awesome. I want you to look like the sad, pathetic piece of shit that you are. So I'm gonna make sure I capture the essence of you sniveling because you can't hunt right. And then I'm gonna mount that to the wall so the other dogs and animals that are supposed to serve a purpose will understand that this is where your fucking head goes if you don't do what you're supposed to do. You'll be put on display. That's the only thing that I think you should display, animals' heads for, is if you're trying to make that kind of a message. Right? And that's the way they do it with us. So that's how I feel when I walk into some of my animal friends' homes and I see human heads and shit, or a fully stuffed human in a pose in their home, and I'm just like, wow, that's a nice Caucasian that you have there, that you caught and mauled and stuffed. Very nice. And then they'll show me their collection of, because they go on safaris like we do too. They go on safaris. They do human safaris. How we go on safaris? At the same time we're on a safari, they go on those same safaris, right? So while we're hunting them, or the ones that we're hunting, they're hunting us while we're hunting them because they know we're out of our element, right? They love it, especially when people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to go hunt things that they trap and then put in a place for you to go hunt them, they love those because they know you're trapped. They know exactly the lay of the land. They know where you're going to go, where you're going to be chilling at. And they love it when you go to your cabins and put your rifles away for the night, and then they come in there and they maul the fuck out of you, drag you into the woods, stuff you, and display you for all their friends. I saw some guy, his name was William von Vanderbilt, right? He's like some big hunter. You guys can look him up. He was from the UK, British dude. He used to go on all these extravagant hunts, and he had all these trophies of these rare animals that he was killing. Like, people are like, why are you killing these rare animals, William von Vanderbilt? You shouldn't be doing that. I mean, he had jaguars, tigers, lions, like big cats stuffed. So, you know, some of the cats got together and they paid a really good price to a couple of humans to shoot him and, you know, bring his dead ass to them. And, you know, the wonderful thing about human beings is, well, they're greedy fucking sacks of shit sometimes and will turn against anything and anyone for their own pocket. Some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. You probably know one or two that are like that. Stay away from those types of people. They're fucking no good. Anyway, right? So, these two people killed the hunter, brought him to the fucking big cats, and the big cats stuffed them and, you know, put them on display. After they killed the two people that they paid to, you know, do what they did. I know what you're saying. How the fuck did the lions and big cats pay these hunters with dead animals, you know, that they were trying to catch? The fucking lions would go in there and get them for them. Like, who better to send than a fucking lion? You know, no, you don't have to worry about a bullet hole at all. Just a snap neck. Done. So yeah, the entanglement between humans and creatures is a lot more than most of you know. And I could go on about this for quite some time. And I will, but not today. Today I think I've hit you with enough to ponder. Like I said, folks, you gotta worry. You've seen shows and TVs and stories and movies about what would happen if animals started a war with us. And I'm here to tell you that it's a lot closer than you think. It's something that you really should be concerned with. You don't have to worry about your cats and dogs. They're not woodland creatures, but bobcats, mountain lions, birds, squirrels, chipmunks, badgers, woodchucks, prairie dogs, ferrets, lemurs, mongoose, honey badgers, Tasmanian devils, wolves, bears, deer, moose, snakes, frogs, maybe, but probably not, lizards, rabbits, foxes, coyotes, eagles, turkey buzzards, turkeys, turkey vultures, hawks, ospreys, owls, to name a few. To name more would take me longer than I want to take, so I'm not going to do that. But, like I said, you should be concerned. And you should prepare yourself. How do I prepare myself, Omen? How do I prepare myself for the war of the goddamn woodland creatures? I can't tell you now. If I tell you now, then they'll know that you know how to protect yourself from them. And then they'll just change it up. And then I won't know. And then you won't know. So none of us will know. And then we won't know how to stop them. I want to thank you all for joining me for another episode of Omen G's stupid, scary stories. If you like this story, give it a like. If you don't like it, you can dislike it, but why waste your time? Just move on to something that you do like. If you haven't subscribed to this fucking channel yet, well, god damn it, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. You've been here more than once, you might as well just subscribe. And if you want to be notified when content drops, and we drop quite a lot of content on a regular basis, pretty much daily, there's something popping in the world of chaos. Well, hit the goddamn icon, and you'll be notified when content is made available. Until next time.